What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is ASA Studio channel for photographers. Today it's another Photoshop tutorial and we're going to be editing and retouching the image in the screen. All right, so first of all, thank you guys for supporting the channel, and if you are new to the channel and you enjoy, you learn from the content we post, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow. All right, so let's get started with the tutorial. First thing first, try to observe what to fix in the image. And this I know that I've observed, and I know we are going to be doing some frequency separation, color correction, eyes whitening, and also we are going to be working on the highlights and the shadows. Okay, so the first one is to actually use the Liquify tool. And why am I using the Liquify tool? Is because I know the nose and the mouth is actually not aligned together, and with the jaw you can see that right here. So that is the first thing we're going to be doing. So now let's duplicate the layer with Ctrl J. Select the layer, Ctrl J, duplicate, and I'm going to name it image to edit. I'm going to turn off this one and go to filter, Liquify. Alright, so now we are here in Liquify, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit and make this bigger. So I'm going to drag this to the left and make it bigger, zoom out and drag. Let's drag the jaw. I'm going to make this smaller and drag the jaw, something like that. I'm going to drag this out as well. I just want to get the real face. I'm going to drag this in, not too much. I'm going to make this one come right here in the center, and just do what by just trying to position our face, align the nose and the body together. I'm going to drag this out and drag this out like this. Now let's undo that and do it again. Okay, let's shift the jaw and shift this one. Yeah, so something like this. I'm going to make it bigger and drag this place out a bit, something like that. Alright, so we can check the preview of before and then after. Notice we've shifted the jaw and a little bit aligned the face, the nose and the body together. So just because I'm using the mouse, that's why. So I'm trying, if you're using a pen touch, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do. I'm going to drag this a little bit. Okay, so this looks okay for me, except the fact that I noticed this side is still in. Okay, so now I'm going to drag the left part of the nose up a bit, so like that. Good. Okay, so let's go to the face, and I'm going to drag the lips up and drag this one inside. I'm also going to adjust this a little bit, and let's see about our face. I'm going to drag this one down. Okay, and for the face, let's make it a little bit smaller and bring this down. Okay, so let's choose this one again, and most of the work we do is actually on the side, and I'm going to close this down. Good. Alright, so I'm going to hit OK on the keyboard, and we have this, which is before and then after, before and then after, which I've actually straightened. Okay, so now we're going to work on the exposure, but before the exposure, let's work on the color. So choose the most common method we normally use is the hue and saturation adjustment layer. I'm going to pick on the hand tool, and I'm going to select a place I want to correct. In this time around, I'm going to select the brighter side. We all know this is the part where she actually makes up, but I'm going to choose the top, which is the red part, and I'm going to increase the hue, and to some extent I will leave that and adjust this till I select the reddish part of our skin. So let's move it forward and see. Yeah, so those places needs to be corrected. Let's turn it off and on, off and on, off and on. Okay, we can leave it like that, or we can actually select some other places let's see where it needs to be selected. So I prefer this one to the first one, so I prefer that to be corrected. So you selected the reddish part, and now I'm going to bring back the slider to 0 and zoom in, and let's see what happens to the color. Let's take it backwards, and now it's becoming red. Let's take it forward, and this has actually make the skin color uniform. So I'm going to leave it somewhere around there, not too much. So let's leave it at 25, and notice that it has actually changed the color of the background, and we want to leave it the way it is. We can actually pick the brush tool. I'm going to close this one and make the brush bigger. I don't want to change the picture itself, so I'm going to use the max tool to erase some places. Now on our lips tool, I'm going to remove that from our lips, so we have that like that. And where else? Let's turn it off and on. Okay, so that's our makeup. Let's remove it from our makeup. Yes, and this one. The whole idea is to get the picture, get the color looking the same. I removed it from there, and the eyeshadows, so that's, we don't need it over there. We don't want to change the photo. Okay, so let's turn it off and on. So let's put a little more blushing, because something like that. And we have this. She blush a lot. Okay, so that's okay for me. So we won't erase the makeup entirely. Okay, so I noticed something there. Turn it on and off. Okay, so just one last place. You can take your time, and do things, make things right. Okay, so that's that. Now let's work on the exposure. Now I'm going to click on the exposure, and let's try out the gamma first of all. So taking the gamma forward just a bit. I'm going to create another exposure, and this time around I'm going to decrease the exposure, and I'm going to double click and make it appear with on the blending mode on the whiter side only. So I'm going to take it out from this side, and I'm going to go through the extreme. I just want it on the brighter side only, so you can see. Let's zoom in, and we have it like this. So just decrease the opacity a little bit. So I guess it's okay and not noticeable the way it is. Okay, so now we can do some eyes whitening. Go to the adjustment layer, create photo filter, and choose the cool warming filter, and go to the the black and white adjustment layer, and I'm going to group the two together, create a mask on the group and invert it. And now I'm going to pick the brush tool, and I'm going to paint over with the foreground color white. So change the foreground color to white over here and paint. Make the brush smaller, and let's paint over our face. If the effect is actually too much, you can as well. So I noticed we have this, and the eyes is actually too white for that, so we can decrease the opacity, especially that of the black and white. So take the opacity down a bit to make the photo look real. So something like that we can do before and then after. You can also decrease that of the photo filter just a bit to make it look realistic. Alright, so now we can do the frequency separation. So for that, we're going to create a stem visible layer. So hit Ctrl Shift Alternate E to create a stem visible layer, and I'm going to duplicate it twice and name this one color, the one below, enter, name this one texture. So I'm going to come back and show you what I did. There's a lot of video on frequency separation, and I don't want to waste your time trying to teach you that and make the video longer, so stay tuned. Alright, so I've finished doing the frequency separation, and you can see the before and then the after, before and then after. Alright, so one other thing you can do, you can actually add skin texture to it, but I feel like the skin texture is already okay with me. But if you want to learn how to add skin texture, I'll do a video concerning that. Okay, so now the next thing, let's make some other advancements. You can do some dodging and burning. So let's quickly do dodging and burning. So let's create two curves layer, one, and let's hit Ctrl J to duplicate it. On the first one, I'm going to take it down like this more, and the second one, I'm going to go back. Let's turn off this one, then go back to this one. Okay, this is the first one. Let's turn off this one and go to the second, the one below, and take it up like this, but not too much. Let's just take it up, and we can actually turn it. Invert the mask, turn this one on, invert the mask. Okay, so this one is the brighter one, so we're going to pick up the brush tool, and we're going to draw with the foreground color white. So I'm going to make it bigger, and let's make the flow like 60%, and I'm going to just draw paint on the highlight like this. Draw on, make a point. I'm going to increase the flow, make a point here, and hold down shift and draw, drag. And I'm also going to paint on the highlight. Take and draw like this, draw on the bright side, and somewhere like this. Just follow the brightness of nose. I'm going to make this place brighter as well, and more importantly the forehead. I'm just going to draw lines like that. I can also do that on over there, and also this side and this side. Okay, so now go to the black, the dark ones, and I'm going to make this place look darker like this, and this place look darker like this. Okay, which other places? Yeah, somewhere there and somewhere here, and we can leave it like that. Make it bigger and make the jaw even smaller. So now let's open up the property window. Go to Windows, go to properties of the mask, make sure the mask is selected, increase the feather, and this is going to increase the feather of the black, and just like that it's going to be there. And don't close it, click on the second property of the mask tool and increase the feather till it feels natural like that, and you can still increase like that. And let's close it, and let's group the two together, and we can turn it off and on. So if the one of the dark is too much, which is this first one, I'm going to click on it and decrease the opacity a little bit, somewhere around there. Looks fine, and we can see it's just there. Alright, so that's that for dodging and burning, and I can reduce that of the two, the same thing, and we can create a stem visible layer again and go to filter, camera raw filter. So here we're in camera raw filter. I'm going to open the basic tab, and not too much we need to do. I'm just going to increase the highlight, and let's decrease the white, increase the highlight. Okay, so we can also increase the shadows just a bit and leave the dark the way it is, leave the black the way it is. Let's increase the texture to get more sharpened image, and with that we can also go to the vibrance. Let's add a little bit vibrance, and I'm going to close that for now. And after I close that, I open up curves, and I'm going to take this one just up and take this one just down to create more contrast, but that's too much. Bring this one down a little bit, and let's see off before then after. Okay, so it's not doing too much, but it's actually doing something. Okay, now so I want to make the saturation of this light more intense, so I'm going to take it all the way up. And for the blues, let's increase the saturation, and for the yellows, I can also increase. First of all, let's go to the hue and make what's red actually red, so something like this. And we can actually make it a little bit tone with that color, okay, and make the magenta towards the purple, and we can give the orange more towards the yellow to make it the melanin kind of feel for our skin, because if you take it to this place, it's gonna have to become, you know, red, making the orange red, but I want to make it the more like the melanin skin, so that's why I'm taking it towards the yellow, but just a little bit, and take the yellows towards the yellows too, so something like that. And we can leave the red just the way it is. Let's just add in some orange to the red, so go to the saturation and we can saturate that, yeah, a little bit. And I'm gonna make the saturation of the orange, just decrease it a bit, and that of the yellows a bit too. We can go to the luminance and we can increase the lightness and increase the lightness of it. So that's that. I'm going to close it. I'm going to go back to the calibration, and you know, dark skin, I like taking the red primary backwards and taking the blue forward. Let's try that out. If it doesn't fit the photo, I need to change tactics then. Okay, so I just did that and I think it doesn't fit the photo that much, but it's actually too much. Let's take it to towards the other side and see what's the, I think that's actually interesting, but it's changing so much. Let's just find the sweet spot for the image. I'm gonna take it backward, I'll take it forward and see, so where works fine. So this is the setting I feel works best for the image, taking the red to this extent and taking the blues to this extent. Let's put it at -10, so we have that, and this one +10, and this is okay for me. So we can see the before and then the after, and if that's too much, we can decrease the saturation of both and have it like this. And I'm gonna click OK, and we have this one. Amazing, right? So from this to this, a brightened photo. We can make the create a mask for it. Why? Because I want to hide the properties, the things on the lips. So I'm gonna click on the brush tool and make the foreground color black, and I'm going to paint over the lips to bring back that red feeling of the lips backwards. Okay, I can also, you know, remove it from this side and hide it from this side, so we can actually add some hue and saturation, and I want it to be on the lips only, so let's increase the hue and saturation and create a mask. Invert the mask and brush over the lips with foreground color white, like that. Not too intense, but just to make the lips stand out. Oh no. And you can see before and after. You can decrease the opacity of it. And let's try out our melanin LUT. So I'm going to go to color lookup and try out the melanin LUT cube LUT, which at times fits the photo. And I'm going to decrease the opacity to somewhere around 15 or so. So let's zoom in and let's see. It's just there and making things, you know, smooth. Okay, let's create this time visible layer one more time, and I'm going to group everything together and hide it and see before and then after, before and then after. Amazing, right? Yeah, so if you enjoyed the video, you can actually subscribe. One more thing I would like to do before that is to create the brightness and contrast. So I would like to brighten up our face So let's take the brightness up a little, not too much, just a bit, or we can use the curves for that. Let's use the curves for that instead. So I'm going to delete that, delete, yes. Let's use the curve layer, and I'm going to brighten it up. Just take it up, and let's hide it. Program color black for the brush, and let's hide it over this side. I don't want it there, just want it on her face. Yeah, so something like this on her face. So you can as well still take it up a bit. Yeah, good. All right, so like before, and take the opacity, and you can see before and after. So let's group it together with this, and let's see before and then after. Amazing. All right, so if you like the video, kindly like and share. You can see before and then after. Thank you guys for watching, for staying tuned. Don't forget, this is Asa's Studio. If you're new to the channel, kindly subscribe. See you in our next video. Thank you.